Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fourth Diamond Report. This is a jam-packed one, so we're going to get right after it. First of all, for everyone, both coaches and umpires, we are still in the same spot COVID-wise as of today, August 24th. No changes. We're operating as a pre-pandemic mode, if you will. Also, the heat has been tremendous. Make sure you check out the link in the Word document version of this Diamond Report. I've got a link to our heat and hydration protocol on our Sports Medicine Advisory Committee page. Check that out, coaches, as you work through the heat and practices and competitions. Let's move into a topic that I've heard about in recent days. If you have an illegal bat that is used in gameplay, I've included a cutout of Rule 742. Specifically, I want to talk about two things. Number one, if an illegal bat is discovered by the umpire, what is the penalty? And the penalty is simply this: the ball is dead immediately upon detection of that illegal bat. All runners not put out on the play must return to the base occupied at the time of the pitch. And when an illegal bat is altered or non-approved, meaning it's not on the approved list, it's not USA stamped, or it's been altered, the batter and the head coach are ejected. So both player and coach ejected. The coach needs to leave the vicinity of the dugout, and I think the rule calls for a distance that is out of sight, out of sound of the field. So they need to leave the premises. And the player, though, stays in the dugout. They're just ejected from the contest and cannot participate any longer. It's important to note my comments on this, that umpires and coaches need to be able to decipher what is an illegal bat, again, altered or non-approved, versus a damaged bat. Because in the note, the damaged bats, they're not illegal and they are removed from the game without penalty. And a damaged bat, again, would be one that's wobbling, cracked, dented, etc. So it's important to note the penalty and the differences of those. I've kept language in this week's Diamond Report regarding suspended or postponed games, tournaments, and really the only difference from this week to last week is if you need to make a change, email me or call me if you have questions before you make that change. Again, if you have questions. Let's talk about field and bench conduct, specifically about coaches and umpires working through a disagreement. Obviously, disagreements, conflicts are going to come up throughout the season. It's going to happen out on the field during competition. Here's my note to coaches. Coaches, I just remind you, please reflect on yourself and think about your approach to an umpire during a game. Are you bringing proper tone, attitude, respect, etc. when you approach the umpire? And would you accept that as an umpire if you were in the umpire's shoes? Likewise, umpires, when you are working with a coach that is emotionally wound up and really into the game and competition, are you utilizing really a three-tiered approach that we have in place in softball where, and I mentioned this and have it noted for the penalties for 3, 6, 11 through 16, are you utilizing 1, a warning, 2, a bench restriction, and 3, an ejection? And umpires, I ask you to reflect in the same manner the coaches are. How's your tone, attitude, respectfulness when you approach that coach? Are you staying even keel? But then when something occurs, are you warning and restricting instead of just going right to the ejection? But also on the same hand, there are times where umpires need to draw the line and go right to ejection. But I want us all to reflect on those things. And specifically in this case, umpires, don't forget you have that other card in your tool belt, which is that bench restriction. One final thing to talk about with umpires and coaches revolves around assisting runners, giving assistance to a runner as they round third base, whether you're a coach, player, specifically maybe when there's a home run hit. And I've added a situation in this week's Diamond Report dealing with an out-of-the-park home run and what takes place there. And here's where I'm going to go with this. Coaches, I ask you to continue to think about and educate your players that if you've got a kid that hits a homer, educate them to cheer loudly, congratulate them, though, after they touch home plate. You've got to give that home plate umpire the ability to see the player touching home plate. And coaches, make sure you specifically are not pushing or pulling a player around the bases, not even just in a home run situation, but in general. because that constitutes potentially an assistance of a runner. Umpires, I want to remind you to work through some of the following things. Make sure you are preventing bad situations arising by reminding coaches in the pregame or prior to a game starting to keep the players away from home plate when a home run is hit, to give you the ability to see that home plate area. And also, as soon as a home run could be hit, preventative umpiring takes place. Umpires need to work on keeping those players back away from home, catch them. You know which dugout they're in. Try to catch them before they get to that home plate area. Keep that plate area clear. And then coaches, if we have a situation rise where we have maybe a runner rounds third and right before she touches home, she high-fives a teammate, I would rather you err on the side of caution in that situation because you need to decipher, are they really assisting the player getting home or are they just giving a high five? And I want you to work through those things, try to slow that game down as much as you can, and I know it's hard. But just some things to reflect on again when we're talking about assisting runners, high fives, home runs hit, where the player should be, etc. A reminder specifically to umpires now, you've got till the 10th of September to apply for postseason consideration. Make sure you do that, and make sure you include a picture of yourself when you do that, so that way the coaches, when they vote, see your name and face. Reminder to coaches, you've got till the 30th to vote for postseason consideration for umpires. Lastly, for coaches, I do want to admit an error on my end. I made a correction in the manual. It's a correction made since we posted the manual back a few weeks ago. I had some old language in the manual from approved ruling 337 in dealing with sub-district, district, and state competition eligibility of your players. So I just want to call your attention to that. It's nothing new, but I had old previously used language in there. What's been in the Constitution and bylaws is accurate, and now it's accurate in the manual. So with that, again, great season so far. It's fun to get games going. If at any time you got questions, don't hesitate to reach me, and have a great week.